Did you see what I sent you on Instagram about weeds?
I just saw it, and that is hilarious. How weeds imply that you're lazy and your garden is messy and weedy.
Yeah, instead, this said that we should call them cover crops.
Yeah, that makes it all sound much better. Like, oh, look at my cover crops of purslane out there in the vegetable garden, and look how I'm using oxalis as a cover crop behind all these shrubs over here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of like it. So, what do you think?
I think I should do a better job of managing my cover crops.
Yeah, me too, but we better get started on this episode.
Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana, where I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
And I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have an extremely large garden out in the country.
We are Garden Angelus because we love gardening and we want you to love it too.
Yes, we do, and we aren't afraid to tell all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode. So before we start, I'm gonna throw you a curveball. We're going down to game seven between our two teams.
Game seven. And we are the only two podcasters in the world, I think, that are from the Oklahoma City area and the Indianapolis area. And it's just a good thing you don't follow basketball, D.
I follow it a little bit, but you know what? I don't care. But I think it's been a really good series.
It has. It has
They are
indeed.
extremely evenly matched, and
But
they both
it's,
have really good players that pull it out in the last minute.
and you know what I love about the games when they're in Indianapolis?
What?
Reggie Miller sitting center court, front row with his little boy, and they're just having the time of their lives. And he's like a cheerleader down there. It is fun to watch him watch the game. Oh,
Okay. As said by a true Pacers fan. So let's move on to garden updates.
well, it's a pretty typical week. I mowed the lawn twice, I think, since I've last talked to you. I did
It's
weed.
so much rain.
I weed that there's the trash can sitting out there with two big bags of weeds in it because I have this long border along the vegetable garden by the fence where the zinnias and marigolds, and then I've got some clematis through there, and
Hmm.
it has that stupid evening primrose out there that just,
The
oh,
pink one?
yes.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I dug all that out, and then at the end, there's like this triangle shaped bed because my lot is five-sided. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I've been there.
Okay.
But
So
but for our listeners, you know.
anyway, so I ended up with this triangle bed, and I've got bronze fennel in there. I've got some hollyhock. I went ahead and planted a pumpkin that Burpee sent me. So that had all kinds of that stupid stuff in it. So I cleaned all that out, and that I'm hoping to get all kinds of reseeders in there. So anyway, did all that, picked the last of the peas, probably the last of the lettuce. I got to pull out a row of lettuce and reseed some beans. Oh, and I did sow some more green beans out there. And then
Me too.
the peas are getting that mildew because it's just been so wet.
So
So
I'm pulling
wet.
all of mine today.
I I probably will too, today or
Mine
tomorrow.
are mine are done. They're so done. So, and I pulled out all my lettuce. So I've moved on to green beans. I've got two different types. I've got Provider and Blue Lake 274.
Very good. So what's going on in your garden other than those things that you just said?
Yeah, I didn't
Now,
even write
wait,
those
before
down.
you go down, well, I just looked and read. Remember, this is a G-rated podcast. We do not allow curse words on this podcast. Now you may proceed with your update very calmly, very professionally,
I
very
have a doe.
I found out my niece who's 11 listens to us. So there you go. Go ahead.
I'm not going to cuss. I gave up cussing, so stop it. I have a doe in my garden, and she is all by herself.
Oh,
But
so
and she's
sweet. They're
young.
so
Yeah,
cute.
they are not cute. Um, she got into my back garden and discovered I had daylilies. And the reason she got in there is I accidentally left the gate open on the arbor because
Uh-huh.
usually they won't go through those. Um, then, so the first night I blocked all the entrances, closed the gate. She'd only gotten a few daylilies, and I thought, okay, we're good. Well, then she walked through the kitchen border and got in there again and ate some
My.
more. And I now know her favorite foods. And so her favorite foods are roses, pentas, daylilies, and portulaca so far. And she pulled the pentas straight up out of the pots at the end of the garden. So I could see exactly where she grazed. She just had a heck of a time out there. And I know it's her because I have seen her. And I could kill my neighbor across the street because he hunts deer out his back door. And he fed them. And that's why we have this darling little creature out there. So
So what does he feed these deer? Does he put out like in
corn,
the corn? Because
corn.
I know in the wintertime, my neighbor across the street, there are deer back there, but they only one time have been known to cross the street. And they
Well, and
they
you're
put salt licks out there.
Yeah, nobody needs to feed the deer. They're a terrible problem for everybody, really. I know people think they're cute, but I mean, they're cute way in the distance, maybe. Okay,
So
so that happened, and then I weeded. We got 6 inches of rain.
we
Six
got,
inches.
I'd have to look at my app. I think all said and done, we got maybe an inch, inch and a half.
Oklahoma is 15 inches above normal for the year.
You know, I saw something, I think because you and I are friends on Facebook, I often see Facebook weather updates for Oklahoma and
Yeah,
said it
probably.
this is the third wettest year in Tulsa in history.
Yeah, in history. Yeah. And they're 15 inches above. And so all of the lakes are everything. The only good part about that is all of the aquifers are charged again. So we do like that. And that's a piece of good news. So I also trimmed up the green velvet boxwoods because I usually do it in May, but this time I did it yesterday. And I worked my tail feathers off and it was super humid and I got a little overworked. So today I'm not working. Made a couple of Instagram videos about that boxwood and about how to do it. And I think you got one too. We
I
got
did.
an incredible storm-proof smooth hydrangea, which would be a hydrangea arborescens.
Right, right. And
Oh, they
you're
even have it
holding up
on
the
there.
tags that they send with it.
Yeah, these are nice.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
gonna,
put that right behind it so that you remember because they sent me some a couple years ago that I put on the side of the house that have those tags. Although
those are nice tags.
one of them got pulled up by a raccoon and destroyed.
Well, yeah, raccoons. They're fun too. Okay, so let's play favorites. I don't want to talk about the deer anymore.
Well, I'll go with my bee balm, which I'll tell you that Plopper's Field, my perennial bed, I have never seen it so lush and overgrown. And it's like, oh, I need to suit
Here
up and
too.
get out there and just start whacking stuff back. But in the midst of all that greenery, that bee balm is just like bright pinkish purple flower heads. I love
Mine's
it.
kind of a reddish pink and it's
Yeah, it's
really
a reddish
pretty.
pink. It's real
You know
pretty.
what? Mine just started blooming too. So what variety do we think that is?
We do not know because we do not keep track of such things.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad we don't have to. All right. In mine, it's the crazy Verbena Bampton. It is blooming like it's full head off out there on my deck, and it does make me really happy.
Mine is out there in two pots where it self-sowed itself. It's in the cracks of the deck. It is not yet blooming. So anyway,
We
I
should just say if you're going to grow Verbena Bampton, you're probably going to have it forever. It does self-sow. I've transplanted a bunch into my pots around the potager into the rose pots because it's nice and it stays pretty lateral,
right. And
kind
those
of.
seeds are tiny and I laugh at myself
Trying so
for
hard to grow it. Me too.
yeah, for gathering that seed last year and then sowing it in this little 4-inch pot and the in the 4-inch pot it was almost impo I mean it's just thick. It's just ridiculous. I might
So it is pretty though, and I'll take a picture of it when we get done because it's really
yeah.
pretty right now.
I
Oh, I
might.
also cut a bouquet. I should just show
You
that.
know what? I
That's
had the
my
most
first
brilliant
bouquet.
idea as I walked in here to start recording. I thought we should each do a bouquet and show it a summer bouquet from our gardens.
Well, there's mine. I'll do one next week. How about that? We'll do another one.
I'll do one next week as well.
Okay, cool. So, question of the week, you ask it and I'll answer.
Okay, so the question that you got was, do you use lavender as part of your tick barrier for your home or garden area? Do you find it helps some? Sorry, I'm always asking the tick questions. Do you consider any plants helpful in deterring them in your home and garden area? And you said,
I said first, ask all the tick questions you want because I want people to know about ticks. And then the lavender, for people who don't know on the podcast, I started a few years ago. The variety is phenomenal and it is truly phenomenal. I have another couple of varieties too, but what she's talking about is the phenomenal because it's huge in my potager and it's beautiful. And no. I started it several years ago because I was a beekeeper and I wanted my bees to have something to make honey. And now some neighbors' bees absolutely love that lavender, the honeybees, as do the carpenter bees and a few butterflies. So it's a really good pollinator plant.
it is.
No, lavender does not deter bees. I mean, not it doesn't what doesn't deter bees, but it does not deter ticks. And so I started thinking about it. Oh, and I can't be a beekeeper anymore because of alpha gal, because it makes you more, it makes you more, what's the word? Sensitive to stings, I guess, would
Yes, I
be,
guess
yeah.
sensitive to stings.
So the only thing I could think of that you could grow to deter ticks would be to grow deer deterrent things, which are mostly they're mostly native plants. There are a lot of native plants deer don't like to eat, and you don't want deer in your garden because they are the biggest vector for ticks, especially the Lone Star tick and the deer tick. And so that's what's suggested by all the tick experts. So they aren't, so I also explained to her that they aren't that type of creature. They're
Right.
related to spiders and they're looking for a blood meal. And by the way, when I was out working in the garden yesterday and I had done that boxwood, I went out to take the clippings and put them in the brush pile. And when I did, a male Lone Star tick got on my arm, even though I mean, he just jumped on my arm because I was putting that stuff in there. And so I didn't even miss a beat, man. I just knocked that buddy off into the brush pile and thought, I'm burning you this weekend. And that'll give me great delight. So that's my answer for this week.
That is a good answer.
Want to do the
I,
quote?
I will. Flowers have spoken to me more than I can tell in written words. They are the hieroglyphics of angels. Lydia Child. Very interesting.
Very pretty. So, flowers this week, we're continuing our alphabet, which was Carol's idea, and
I
we are
thought it
going
was
to
your
talk.
idea.
No, it was yours. You
Okay.
came up with it and you said, hey, let's garden through the alphabet. And I was like, okay, sounds good to me. Which is what I say to all of Carol's ideas.
Thank
And
you.
she's so sweet to come to me and even ask me, but I'm just like, yeah, I don't, that's fine. All right. So, Oleander is the first one that came to mind for me. And Carol says,
I've never grown or oleander, and I'm not even recall seeing it for sale anywhere in the spring as a for a potted plant.
it is sold here almost every year. It's one of those plants that goes in and out of style. And part of that is because it is poisonous and it's used a lot in mystery novels, which is kind of funny
Oh,
because
yes.
it's poisonous. I'm thinking about putting some out for my deer. And it makes a big, beautiful plant. And I grew it for years in pots, but it's not hardy here. But you know where it is hardy? Galveston, Texas. And in
Ah,
Galveston, Texas, one time Bill and I went there when the oleander was blooming and they consider themselves the oleander capital of the world. And I got kind of sick of oleander. I was like,
ah,
wow, it was everywhere. But it's
overuse.
pretty. Yeah, I can think we could do a whole, ooh, that's an O thing. Overuse of plants. There's a lot of that out
Oh
there.
yeah, there's a lot of overused plants.
I can think of about four right off the bat.
Stella de Ora
So
daylilies, overused,
yeah, that's
overused.
one. Bradford pear shouldn't be used at all. Oleander, I would say crepe myrtles at this point because we have a
In
lot of
your
them.
climate, yes. In my climate, it's still a novelty because, yeah.
Cannas could get close because we have a lot of cannas, but I do love cannas. Anyway, and then you brought up a whole, I guess that's all we need to say about oleander. Here, grow it in a
Yes.
pot.
Yeah.
Don't expect it to overwinter. All right, you tell us this next one because I don't even know how to pronounce it and I've never heard of it.
So it's actually the common name is white lace flower and it's Orlaya grandiflora. And I saw it down at Dolly's Lavender Farm that a huge bed of it, it was in full bloom. It is related to carrots. And
Hmm.
so if you could think
It's
about a
another, oh, it's another one of those. So like false Queen Anne's lace, hemlock, you know, even
but
the
if
foragers will not identify stuff for you in that family because everything
no.
looks so much like.
Well, the difference of this is you think about the individual florets that some of them are much larger. And so I was looking it up on Wikipedia and it's in the carrot family, native to Mediterranean Europe, and it's oh, I'd say 18 inches to 2 feet tall.
Hmm.
It says multi-branched annual ferny leaves, and then that flattish panicle of white blooms, and you would pick it when they're about 90% open. And
Hmm.
they said it makes a great filler for a cut flower. And somebody else said if you grow it, you will always have it. I think that's kind of like the same with dill. It's closely related to dill. Once you grow it, if you let the seed drop, you'll have it. But I was
Hmm.
surprised the Royal Horticultural Society gave it an award of garden merit.
Because it's so good for pollinators, right? And it also makes
Paul,
a good cup flower.
yes. And so it is tempting in that bed where I want things to self sow. It's tempting to throw some seed out there for Orlaya, but I mean, I say I want a bunch of self sowers, and then I can just see me going crazy because I have all these self sowers.
Hmm. Kind of like that one that you're trying to get rid of. Well, it is really pretty, and yes, I've actually seen this growing before. I just didn't know the common. No, I didn't know it. I didn't know the name for it,
And when I
frankly.
was at Dolly's farm, you know what? I took a picture, and then later I thought, well, it'd be nice to include a picture in the newsletter. And let me look at that picture real quick because I actually think um, that I took a picture of the sign that they had so that I would know
Hmm.
what it was. And I don't know that I took a picture of the actual
That's
sign.
funny.
Let me see what I did here.
That's funny.
Nope. I have picture. Yeah, I have a picture of it.
You know what? I really think I do want it. I think it would go really well with my green Ami. That's beautiful. Which I finally have gotten going. I've got the purple, the purple one that's
Right.
really popular. I finally got it going in the kitchen bed, which the deer won't eat that. Yay. And then I finally got the green Ami going, I think, in the other bed. And of course, they just look like carrots when they're coming up. So
Right.
we'll see what colors I have. But this would be a really pretty plant to go in there with them. And then put zinnias behind, in between.
Well, yeah.
And
I
by the
mean,
way,
it's
these are my zinnias from
so
Johnny's.
my zinnias are about 6 inches tall. I
Well,
just
some of
so
mine are too, because I had to resow them, resow them, resow
right.
them.
So I don't have anything
What a
near
year.
flowering at all.
What I have are the agave ones and what was the other one? Aurora, that I started indoors, thank
Okay, that
goodness.
makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. Oh, well, anyway, this is a cool flower. I'm excited that you introduced it to me because now I want it. Of course
Of
I do.
course, I'm the enabler.
I wonder if I could just throw down the seeds in February.
I'm guessing that you probably could.
February is a good time to sow weird stuff here.
Okay, now
Cover it, cover it
let's
with
end
just a
on a
little
low
stuff.
note, as they say. Tell us,
Uh-huh.
Dee, you have a plant you don't like, the obedient plant.
I hate obedient plant.
I
Um,
had
I
it at
don't
one
just
time.
dislike it. I hate it.
I had it at one time, but I decided that I did not like it, and so I was able to get rid of it before it really went berserk on me.
Mine is everywhere. It showed a friend gave it to me years and years ago, and it was so pretty. And it's a native. So a lot of native people, native plant people, really like this plant. And it's part of I suspect the mint family because it has a square stem. I don't know that it is. I haven't looked up.
You keep talking about it, and
But
I
you
will.
know what? It spreads by under the ground roots that attach to each other. So when you pull it up, you don't pull up the whole thing. Now, several people, I did a video on Instagram about obedient plant and how much I hate it. And several people wrote in and said, "Oh, I love mine. I have Miss Manners." Well, Miss Manners is a cultivar, and she's called Miss Manners because she's mannerly. And she's white. And this is kind of a pinky purple, and it just reseeds and grows everywhere. So,
Yeah,
what
and
family is it part of?
well, I went to look it up and then I realized, oh, it is a native.
Yep.
Let me tell you here in a minute. It is in the mint family. You were
Yeah.
ding 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 ding.
I'm not a bit surprised. It's Physostegia virginica, Virginiana, sorry. Sometimes it's Virginica, sometimes it's
So
Virginiana.
if you're
So it
gonna
was
get
found in
it,
Virginia. If you're
if
gonna
you're
get it, you need to put it somewhere that you have.
no, you need to get Miss Manners.
Well, definitely. Or it needs to grow in a prairie situation, not in your bed. Speaking of which, I have a client, and I don't know if she listens to our podcast or not, and she's a butterfly gardener, and she sent me a whole series of videos and questions, so we can't do it as question of the week. But she was like, should I chop all these things back? The things were New York ironweed, which is smooth ironweed. Oh, she has that in her regular suburban garden. That thing is huge.
It is
It
a big plant.
spreads. And then she has Joe Pye weed, the original. And I
Yep.
was like, oh. And she has some variety of liatris that is really tall, which is the one I think I grew, and it's a big one. And I was like, okay, here's the deal. You can't cut any of those back right now. You should have cut them back in April. But
Right.
if it were my garden, I'd get that New York ironweed out of there, and I'd go to a much shorter version of Joe Pyeweed, because Joe Pyeweed gets 8 feet tall.
It could in the right environment. Now, I'm looking
It
at
is the right environment.
the North Carolina Extension Service, their website. They have a very good plant
They
index.
do. They
And they
do.
will tell you that obedient plant, if we could circle back to that O,
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of bullies, plant bullies.
they said
Okay.
this easy to grow plant forms clumps quickly up to 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide with green tooth margin leaves. Provides a long season of cherry color in the garden from midsummer until the first frost. Native garden visited by bees, hummingbirds, and other pollinators. This
Hmm.
plant, this is important, Dee. If I could
Hmm.
circle back to the
I'm trying
previous
to.
update, this plant is resistant to browsing by deer.
Well, there's that. But it's resistant to me pulling it out too. I mean, it not only spreads to that nice clump they're describing, its seeds go to your next bed and your next bed and your
Okay,
next
so
bed.
you need to get some Miss Manners.
No, I don't need any at all. I got plenty of plants. I hate it. But if someone else wants it, yeah, get Miss Manners. One of my girlfriends it was Wanda Faller. She goes, I grew Miss Manners once. She was so mannerly, she died. It was one of my favorite quotes.
Anyway. Well, that's enough. That's enough of O flowers. Why don't you do the quote for the vegetable topic?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Yes.
Vegetables. Okra. I've got okra that's about that tall.
And for those who are listening rather than watching, it's about 3 to 4 inches tall. And
Not very
I
big.
did not plant okra this year, just escaped
Mm.
my attention. And that bed was all weedy when I would have planted it. But it is a hot weather plant and it can
You
grow
could plant
much.
it now.
I probably could, but yeah, you know what? I might. I've got seeds that I saved from last year from a variety called White Velvet. So
Oh,
it is
yum.
related to cotton, has a beautiful flower on it.
It's
Um,
related to hibiscus. It is a hibiscus,
yes, it's a
which
type of
cotton is
hibiscus.
too.
Yes.
And so it has beautiful flowers, which bumblebees love.
Yeah, maybe I'll go. I've got the seeds. I might as well just go out there and throw some seeds out there.
I think you should.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I'll do that in my spare time.
Onions.
We
We've
talked
talked about
about
onion.
onion. Yes, we talk about
I
those.
broke all my onion stems yesterday to get them to flesh out into bigger onions and not try to put their emphasis into growing seeds. And I know it's not an O, but I harvested my garlic at the same time. So yesterday was a good day. I got a lot done.
Yeah.
Yeah, onions, easy to grow.
But
Easy to grow from sets, easy to grow from seeds.
yes, and I have some out there from sets, some red onions, and they look pretty good. And I probably will do, they're ready to probably be broken off so they can start bulking up at the base. The other
Mhm.
seedlings, remember I said they just look terrible and I didn't hold out much hope. Actually, it's looking like a pretty good crop.
It's
It has,
amazing how they just suddenly perk up. Because I
right.
always think the same thing. I think, oh, these are not going to work. And then all of a sudden, you have big onions. And you know what's weird at my house? They caught up with my onion sets.
Well, they haven't caught up yet, but I did pull a bunch of green onions the other day. And then I've got
Yeah.
others that are, designed to be bigger onions. But I grew those in that snail
Yeah.
wrap, and that actually did work out pretty good. I might do it a little bit different the next time because I used stiff paper, and by the time those seedlings were ready to go out in the garden, or well, I was ready to put them out in the garden, that paper was pretty much falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah.
They
So
looked good though when you showed them. Did you show them on Instagram? Where'd you show
not
them?
not the onions.
I thought maybe you just sent me a picture. I
Now
don't
they're
know.
growing. They have a lovely ground cover of purslane that I need to manage.
Oh, I'll send my deer over. She'll eat it for you.
The
Because
purslane.
yeah, because it's edible and portulaca is kind of related to it. And she loves
Yeah.
portulaca.
Do not
She
send your deer
loves,
here.
loves, loves
Do
it.
not send a deer
I
here.
had the prettiest pots in front of my American wisteria, and now they just have a coleus and some sweet potato vine, which apparently she didn't enjoy, but usually they do. This deer is crazy. All
Maybe
right, olive.
she was full.
Yeah, she should have been. She ate every dang day, Lily. All right, olive trees. What do you
So
want to say about
Dee,
olive
you
trees?
know what? I did look up. I don't have never grown an olive tree. I've seen them
I
growing, but
haven't
I looked
either.
in my big bad book of botany. He has a nice chapter on olive trees, and some of the oldest trees in the world are olive trees. Did you
Yeah,
know
I
that?
knew that. Yeah.
So, and
Olive
they're
trees, you
yeah,
don't plant. So I have some clients who plant olive trees and go, when am I gonna get a harvest? And I'm like, when your grandchildren are here.
yeah. They're not a
And by
quick.
then it will have outgrown that pot. They say that that's who you grow olive trees for. But they are very pretty plants and they look great in concrete containers because the green and silver of the leaves and the wind, they're very pretty. I don't grow them though. I don't have time.
Yeah, and I don't think see here an olive tree is a potted plant, even in a concrete container. I don't think it would survive the winter here at all.
No, I don't even think it'd survive the winter here. I think that'd be over with. You'd have to bring it into a greenhouse or a garage or something, and they're
Yeah.
evergreen. So I'm
We're
not,
getting to be
I,
old. Those things
I
get
just not
heavy.
into that stuff. No, thank you. All right, let's move on to oregano, which you have been obsessed with this year. And I'm just going to predict that in a couple of years, you're going to be saying to me, God, why did I plant all that oregano? Because I've grown oregano before in the garden and
So,
dug it out.
well, it is in the mint family, so one must be careful, but it's or Oreganum vulgare.
That's
Um,
the main one.
but I went out to the Herb Society of America's website.
Hmm.
They have a 62-page document about the genus Oreganum, or which is includes oregano and marjoram. They're
They
both
taste a lot alike.
yes, and they said
Oh, hmm
oregano has a stronger, spicier flavor, while marjoram is milder and sweeter with floral notes.
hmm
Both herbs look similar but are used differently in cooking, with oregano often in robust dishes and marjoram in more delicate recipes.
Yeah, you use marjoram more for fish, and you would use oregano more like in tomato dishes.
Yeah, and I think, let me look at my notes
I grow
because
a lot of ornamental oreganos, a lot of them,
I
and I
have a
have one in my
variegated one
garden.
out there.
Hmm I
So,
have
and I was looking at my
three.
notes because I wanted to be sure that I was not buying duplicates. Yes, I have Thumble's variety, variegated, and then one called Greek and one called Italian. And I would defy
Mhm.
anybody to tell the difference between Greek and
They
Italian
look
oregano.
just alike to me too. I grow
Yes.
them both, and they were the same. I mean, I'm not saying they're the same. I could be wrong, but they look the same. They taste the same. Um, I grow three ornamental varieties. I do not grow uh culinary oregano in my garden anymore because I don't want it to take over. And I already have trouble with the one ornamental oregano that I grow in the uh, kitchen border. And yes, you can eat those. People ask me that
But
all the time, but they don't taste as good.
but here's the thing about this oregano.
Hmm.
I believe that it would be easy to weed out where you didn't want it.
It is not easy to weed out. And should
Oh,
we talk
speaking
about
of
these?
weeding,
This is the
what?
perfect time. What? I went and
What?
found
Our
mine.
cobra heads?
Yeah, yours are all clean. Mine's dirty because I was using it.
I washed them off so they would be nice on camera.
Yeah,
So
I
we
didn't.
we do have affiliate link for Cobra Head now, and we announced that last week. But for those who don't know what the tools are, this is the original Cobra Head.
Right.
And I usually hold it about right here.
I hold it in the middle, I think.
But what
Um,
my
it
true
is great
love,
for digging out things like oregano, Bermuda grass, stuff like that.
my favorite though, is the mini.
Yeah,
This
you have
is
a mini. I used to have a mini and I don't know what happened to it. I
Well, I
should
had a
get.
mini, I lost it. And then you know what I did when I lost it? I
Mm.
immediately ordered another one. Because I
Yeah, they're
can put
great
this in my back pocket
tools.
and
And they're tough. I mean, you almost can't break them.
oh yeah, because you know how tough it is? One spring day a couple years ago, I went outside and I'm like, huh, there's my cobra head weeder. It lived all winter outside. And you can't tell that lived all winter
But
outside.
it's partly because of the handles. I mean, the handles are made of that polyurethane or something, and they don't decay. They're awesome. I don't
Anyway,
have the mini. I need the mini for
you
close.
need the mini.
I
I,
do.
I put the mini in my back pocket and it's like, where's my mini?
I
And
predict you'll be using this to get oregano out of your garden in a couple of years.
do you don't
Just
think I'll
saying.
just use the mini?
No, I think you'll need the big one.
I don't know.
Okay. Having been through it, I've had to dig it out before. All right, do the next quote and we will move on to our bookshelf.
Okay, it's in all caps, but I'm not shouting it. That's just the way we copied it.
Yeah.
We are like books. Most people only see our cover. The minority read only the introduction. Many people believe the critics. Few will know our content. Emily Zola.
I think that is really, really good because I think with social media, people really don't know your content, who you are.
Or people get suckered into reading a headline, and that's designed to get you to click. And most people don't click, and then based on that headline, they go off on some crazy direction.
Okay, and I have a funny story to tell you. I think it's clean enough. Okay, so speaking of, Jennifer sent me a reel, Jennifer Ladybug, and it was this guy, and he is scantily clad, we'll put it that way, and he is talking about peonies, but he's
I
not
saw
pronouncing it
that.
that
That
way,
was
right?
hilarious.
It is hilarious. But then after I watched it and laughed at it, I got every man who was scantily clad talking about some aspect of gardening. This went on for 2 weeks. I could not get it stopped. And it didn't even matter if I looked at him anymore. I would like hide this reel, hide this reel, hide this reel. And finally, we
That's
got it taken care of.
that is the danger of clicking.
That's a danger of any of it because the algorithm goes, oh, you want scantily clad men in their overalls? We gotcha. It doesn't matter what you like. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, okay. It was very funny.
So our book this week I had on my shelf,
I did
Flower
not, and I did the
Fables.
Kindle, but it loses a lot in the Kindle translation.
Well, this is one of those, if you're into Louisa May Alcott, it's nice to have this
Mhm.
book. And then
Sure.
and you got to remember that this thing was written in the what was this originally written?
A long time
1854,
ago.
1854.
Yeah.
So they wrote back different back there. But just reading the introduction part, because I'm
Hmm.
not going to confess I read all the stories. So I did not realize that she was friends with um, Thoreau,
Yeah. Because
and
she's
Yeah, and Ralph
She's
Waldo
from
Emerson,
Concord. Yeah.
that they all kind of hung out together, and that's where she went out to the woods and they told all the fairy stories and things. And this is actually the first book that she published was this flower fables.
I didn't know that. I knew that she was friends with a lot of famous writers and also women's suffragettes and a bunch of other people. She was very progressive for her time, and her parents were too. I knew this because even Little Women, um, the Marmee, the mom, she's
Yeah.
real involved in the society and societal issues. That's why she takes food to people. Remember that from Little
Yes.
Women? Because that's how Beth gets sick. Anyway, there you
Uh,
go. I don't want to say any more because your 11-year-old niece might not have read Little Women. It's my
Yeah.
favorite book.
But it's got nice illustrations in
So
it.
pretty. Is that Bloodroot? What is that?
That was Oxlip.
Oxlip.
And so, but I would like to briefly, The Frost King, some of its
Yes.
poems, and it says, brighter shone the golden shadows, on the cool wind softly came the low sweet tones of happy flowers, singing little Violet's name. Among the
Of
green
course.
trees was it whispered, and the bright waves bore it on to the lonely forest flowers where the glad news had not gone. Thus the Frost King lost his kingdom and his power to harm and blight. Violet conquered, and his cold heart warmed the music, love, and light. And his fair home, once so dreary, gay with lovely elves and flowers, brought a joy that never faded through the long, bright summer nights.
I
Thus, by
love that.
Violet's magic power, all dark shadows
Oh,
passed
they're
away.
done.
And o'er the home of happy flowers the golden light forever lay. Thus the fairy mission ended, and all Flowerland was taught the power of love by gentle deeds that little Violet wrought.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Sorry I interrupted. I didn't realize we weren't finished.
No, I wasn't going to
Okay,
read something really, really long. So, anyway, it's just
thank
a
God.
sweet little book. If you're into Louisa May Alcott, and this particular edition that I bought was from 1890.
Beautiful.
It's a replica of the book they republished in 1898, and has the illustrations from that. And according
Mhm.
to this, the publisher, um, some of the proceeds from it go to something that I had. Let's see. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, she
Cool.
dedicated it to the daughter of Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Hmm.
Isn't that
Sweet.
interesting?
It
I thought it
is.
was a really fun book. So for fans of Louisa May Alcott, they probably already have Flower Fables, don't you think?
No, because I'm a fan and I don't have it. Well, I mean, I
D-
do. Kindle. It's not,
Yeah. You
I'd never heard of it. And
well,
I
there
have a
you
lot of
go.
her books, so that's cool.
You need
All
this one,
right.
Dee.
Oh, it's time to read another quote. Ready?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope you find, as I did, that happiness comes from noticing and enjoying the little things in life. And that's by Barbara Ann Kipfer. And we're back. Now we're to our dirt.
And that is the perfect quote for the dirt because it's the little things you notice. And the dirt is leaf cutter bees.
Yes, and I brought this one up because it's that time of year. I started seeing these half moon and three-quarter moon holes in my rose leaves, and I thought, oh, the leafcutter bees are doing their thing. And people get very upset by this. They also cut holes in other things too. If you see a perfectly cut little partial circle, you'll know you have leafcutter bees, which is a very good thing. And before you get all distressed about it or want to kill the leafcutter bees for some reason, because they don't hurt anything. Carol's got a picture of one, I think. I can't see
Clover.
it.
Can you see it?
Clover?
Can you
Yeah, I
see
see
it?
it now. Now I can when you turn it to the side. Yeah, I see the hole. And so before you get upset about this, just know that they aren't eating your leaves. What they're doing is they're getting ready to lay eggs. And so they lay an egg, they cut a leaf, they put it in there so that egg has a cell. Then they lay another egg, then they put the cut leaf in. And so it's a little separation. And they lay these in hollow stems and lots of different places, holes. And so they're pretty cool creatures. They're solitary bees, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
And as many of our bees are. So
Yes.
there you
So
go.
we'll put links. You found a nice article on the Missouri Botanical Garden. Um, and then on Garden Know-How about leafcutter bees. But yeah, you see these. I often see them on redbuds too, like that little
Hmm.
perfect half circle cut off the edge of the. And it's amazing. I it's like a half circle. It truly is a half circle. And I bet if you trace that, take that leaf and just trace that circle, and then turn it around and trace the bottom part, you probably have a pretty perfect circle, which
You
is
do.
crazy.
It
Which
is
is amazing.
amazing. Nature
Amazing.
is amazing. Okay,
Amazing.
just one thing not about leafcutter bees. I switched over to close out that window and I got the Johnny's window again about that our our plant, our flower that we did, right? The one
Orlaya.
Orlaya. It says all of a sudden this thing came up and said, caution, the milky sap of this plant can cause a skin irritation in sensitive individuals. Exercise caution when harvesting, which you do with anything that has latex sap. And it says the purchaser assumes all liability relating to the use of this product. Wow.
Wow. I don't
I
see
don't,
that very often on a seed
I that one
packet.
was very I felt like it needed to be read because it was so
Well,
specific.
and if our listeners have experience with Orlaya or the white lace flowers, let us know.
Let us know if the milky sap has been an issue too. I
Or rampant self-sowing.
or rampant self-sowing. Yeah, that too. Okay, where are we now? Oh, it's your turn to do a quote.
I must keep to my own style and go on in my own way. And that is Jane Austen. And that was from her Five Great Nieces Substack, the Austen Pathway.
Nice. So rabbit holes, I'll just tell you mine really quick. I'm trying to figure out how to block that stupid deer out of my garden. And I can't spray a lot of the sprays, which are effective unless it rains, because a lot of those have mammal ingredients, along mixed with rotten eggs usually. I kind of need a dog again, but I don't want a dog. And the funny part was, is Bill said maybe we should get a dog because we never had this problem when we had a dog. And I said, do you want to take the dog to the vet? I already have a crazy cat that I have to take to the vet. And he said, no, I don't. So there you go. So there, that's mine. What's yours?
So I did, maybe our subscribers to our Substack newsletter, I did a little editing on that and I made the title bigger on the Substack, and I also moved
Yeah,
all
you
the,
worked hard.
well, it wasn't that hard. I moved all the affiliate links to like a separate menu item, so they won't be at the bottom of our newsletter. They'll just be linked to take you to that thing. And so I did all
Hmm.
that. I did that on some stuff on my own Substacks. And then, by the way, there is a new series on BritBox about the Mitford sisters. It's a drama
Hmm.
based on their lives. It's called Outrageous. I think it's going to have 6 episodes, and I have watched the first two the other day, yesterday, when it came out.
Was it good?
It's pretty good. Um, Nancy Mitford kind of narrates over top of
Hmm.
part of it, and so you're just thinking these girls are doing dumb things.
They did a lot of really outrageous things. They were kind
They
of outrageous sisters.
Yeah, yes. And so it's hard for me to remember or tell which sisters. I mean, I know which one is Nancy and I know which one is Diana. And then Jessica and Pamela and Unity. I think I've figured out which one is always Unity, but their hairstyles are kind of the same. So anyway,
Yeah, we've been watching Peaky Blinders, which I don't suggest it for anybody. It's kind of a horrible show. But there are like three women characters on there and it's gone throughout time. So sometimes they all look alike. And it could be because I'm 62. That could
right.
be the issue.
Yeah.
But they all have the same hairstyle and it's all dark. And Bill and all the brothers, except for the two main brothers, kind of look the same too. And there are all these gypsies that are involved also, and the gypsies kind of look the same. And Bill will look at me and he'll go, which one is that? And I'm like, I don't know. Is that Lizzie or or is it Ada? I have no idea. I mean, I have to listen to him talk for a little bit. Thank God one of the wives is blonde. because I would never know who
Yeah.
anybody is.
Well, Diana Mitford is obviously blonde and
Hmm.
but anyway, it is I think you would enjoy it because, I think you would enjoy it.
I would. Don't watch Peaky Blinders. It's kind of gross. All right. So you're also doing some research.
Yes, I got another Lost Lady coming out next week, and I don't know what happened because I put an index on my Lost Ladies page, so it's a alphabetical list by last name of everybody I've written about with a link to that Substack,
Yeah,
and um, and then below that I listed alphabetical by first name. It was just easier, trust me. Everybody I've been researching, and then I was going back through my list, and I found this Doretta Klaber that I had done all the research. I've not written about her, and I forgot to put her on either list. So I'm pretty sure I haven't written about her. But anyway,
I don't think you have. I
she
don't
was
remember you talking about her either.
she
So
was big in rock gardening.
I thought you were going to say rock star dumb.
Well,
I
the
don't know
reason I know
why.
of her initially, she wrote a book on violets, was into rock
Hmm.
gardening, and then I made a note that there's a thyme that's named after her. And I thought, well, I need two more thyme varieties. I should look for Doretta Klaber.
I like thyme. Thyme's one of my favorite herbs to grow. It's pretty and it looks really good. I have one called Hi Ho Silver, and Hi Ho Silver is a variegated
I
variety,
need I need another variegated.
and it's another low growing, spreading, very beautiful variegated variety. I need to go up there and cut out all the stuff that's come up that's non-variegated, but it would even be good between paving stones because it's really tough. So you could even grow it there.
Well, I've got them all growing in
Unlike woolly
containers.
thyme.
They're all in containers on my patio, and so
Mhm.
this before things get too far in the late summer, I'm going to plant them out at the edges of the vegetable garden on the
That's
ends.
how mine is. Yeah.
So, and three on each, three varieties. Yeah, I got it all sorted out. Or maybe it's two. I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. So speaking of garden commissions, what are you going to do this week?
So I need to fertilize containers and I need to weed, or as we say, manage our cover crops. Um, and tame that wilderness known as my garden. I will have to mow. But Dee, there's an unfortunate thing happening after today.
What's that?
It's going to be in the 90s every day.
Oh, it was the 90s yesterday here. It was horrible because we had so much humidity.
Oh,
I overdid it yesterday badly. I'm just now starting to feel normal again today. I had a thought about that too. Oh, I don't know what it was. But anyway, yes, the 90s, they're here. Oh, it's the summer solstice today.
oh, that's right. It's the summer solstice. I forgot. The
So it
garden
should be
fairies
in
will
the
have to
90s.
post. The
Yes, they
garden
will.
fairies. Well, you know what? Here in Indiana, we didn't normally get into the 90s in June. We waited until after the 4th of July, like the world's smallest violin, poor Carol.
I don't care.
I didn't
Here,
care.
here it
Oh, and I
is
also, wait a minute.
horrible.
This weekend, I think I'm going to my nephew and his wife, and they're the one, I think their 11-year-old daughter is listening to us because she's bored
Uh-huh.
this summer. Um, I'm going to help them trim up a few things. And then my other sister begged me to come because her husband wants to trim off some tree limbs. And she says, I don't trust him to know what to trim. So I need you to come and say, yeah, I can take this limb off. So
Great, fun.
what would they do without Carol to come and tell them, yes,
I have
that
no
that's
idea,
the right thing to do. Go for it.
but you enjoy helping them, so
I
that's a good
do.
thing.
I do. I do.
So my week, I didn't write anything down, but I can tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to plant this shrub from Proven Winners. I know exactly
I
where it's
need to do the
going.
same.
I am going to pinch off some of my flowers, like my zinnias, to get them to branch out because that's what you want to do. By cutting this bouquet, I did some of that with my bigger ones. Now I'm doing my littles. I'm going to plant mammoth sunflower seeds because honestly, my sunflower situation has not been good. So I just decided I was going to put mammoth and hopefully somebody will come up because I've replanted sunflowers twice now and the rain washed them away. But it's
Tisk
not going to
tisk.
rain anymore, so that's the way it goes. Um, tisk tisk. You should feel sorry for me.
I'm
It's
sorry.
really been bad here.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
they, I had 100 daylilies, and that deer ate 90% of them. You'd
So
be
that
very upset.
I would be very upset.
It's
Yes.
very sad.
I'm gonna ask. I might go to the daylily place because they're starting to really bloom, and
I love that place.
I wonder if they have deer that get in there. I mean, it would be quite easy for deer to get in there. I don't know if they
Ask
get
them what
deer.
they do. Ask them what they do because tell
They
them
do
Dee
have a
wants to know.
fence all the way around, and quite a bit of the garden is not where the daylilies are, but there's a lot of trees and shade and stuff. I don't know. I'll find
Yeah,
out.
I don't know. I I got to go there the year Garden Writers came to Indianapolis. It was fun.
All right, are we done now, Dee?
We're finished. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Garden Angelus. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time.
But if you subscribe to our free newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early and links to the products we discuss. Some of these are affiliate links, which are now in a new tab. Please go over, plus, you can go over to YouTube and see us in person looking good today. And full episodes show up on Tuesdays.
And if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we're in a small commission and it costs you nothing to buy. You can buy a Cobra head and we get a small commission.
Or a mini or a long one. You can do all kinds of things. Okay, and then you can also set up a subscription, a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout, or make a one-time donation through PayPal.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I had the very end. It
Sound
was
like we've never
lovely
done
to
this
chat.
before.
Sorry, my son called in the middle of things. Um, and I just went past it. It was lovely to chat with all of you over the garden gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.